Pisces, before we start, enjoy this video, share it with anyone who needs to listen and follow this channel so you don't miss any revelations. Today, I'm going to show you hidden signs of a possible betrayal that may be much closer than you think. Get ready, because what you discover can change everything. Pisces, a grave threat hangs over you, and you may not yet realize its extent. There is a perfidy at work, and it is not a false alarm or a simple disagreement. Your trusting nature, your pure and selfless essence, prevents you from readily accepting this disturbing truth, but it unfolds around you with increasing intensity. It is absolutely crucial that you remain vigilant until the end of this release, as information vital to your protection and discernment will be revealed. His good heart, so accustomed to seeing the best in people, resists believing that anyone in his innermost circle could act with such disloyalty. However, this shamelessness, this violation of trust, is active and manifests itself in subtle ways. A figure who presents himself in a kind way, disguised as an ally, confidant, or even as an integral part of his family, orchestrates dark plans in his absence, sowing discord and taking advantage. Such a person knows the depths of his soul, his innermost sensibilities, his longings, and regrettably, his most vulnerable weaknesses. And she uses them, without remorse, as precise tools to undermine her inner peace, her security, and her emotional stability. The pain of seeing such a reality is immense, as his loyalty and dedication are unwavering, characteristics that, paradoxically, make him a target. But the moment calls for more than lamentation. It requires lucidity and action. There is a veil of deception being lifted, and what lies behind it is not pleasant. It is time to awaken from any illusion, to open your eyes to the full picture that is unfolding. Don't ignore the persistent whispers of your intuition. Falsehood moves in very close circles, wearing a welcoming smile, while your actions silently betray the trust you generously place. Their peace is compromised, and the need to recognize this reality is urgent. This is not a time for hesitation, but for the unwavering search for truth. Your perception needs to be sharpened to identify who is really by your side and who just simulates support. Betrayal is already manifesting, and your mental clarity is your greatest defense now. This mental clarity, Pisces, is fundamental because the artificer of perfidy knows exactly how to reach the sensitive points of his soul. He does not act rudely. On the contrary, his method is sophisticated and cunning. He understands their weaknesses, their hopes, and their fears, and uses them as levers for his own agenda. This individual has a gift for uttering exactly the words you long to hear, creating a sense of validation and understanding, while behind the scenes, acting directly against your interests and your happiness. Manipulation and control manifest themselves in diverse and often imperceptible ways. Your sensitivity, one of your greatest qualities, is distorted and turned into a weapon against yourself. The betrayer subtly creates an environment where you constantly feel guilty, inappropriately responsible for situations you don't control, or diminished in your very essence. There's a veiled emotional blackmail, disguised as care or affection, which traps him in a cycle of obligations and insecurities. Do not allow this web to continue to envelop you. It is vital that you recognize the pattern, the repetition of these exhausting dynamics. No longer be deceived by appearances, by gestures that seem affectionate but carry a disguised intention. Start observing with a new perspective, with a look that goes beyond what is shown on the surface. Notice the difference between a welcoming look that really cares and a soul that nurtures envy, even if the lips utter soft words. There is a glaring disparity between what is said and the true intention. The empty promises, the compliments that hide ulterior motives, the conversations that seem innocent but sow doubt, all this is part of the scheme. That person feeds on your good faith, your desire for harmony, and your deep sense of empathy. It builds a facade of support while undermining your self-esteem and convictions. It's time to break this cycle of deception. Start trusting your own feelings more, the signals your body and mind send. The truth often hides between the lines, in omissions, in disproportionate reactions, or in the absence of support at crucial moments. Your heart, even if wounded, has the ability to discern the truth if you allow it to speak. The ability to discern truth, Pisces, is crucial because your body and soul already feel the dissonance. The tension you experience, that subtle discomfort, is not something new. Disloyalty has been manifesting itself for some time. Although you may have minimized or justified it, it reveals itself in the little things, in the details that by its generous nature you tend to ignore or excuse. Notice, for example, comments that are made as if they were harmless jokes, but that carry a twinge of criticism or disdain. Notice the important decisions that are made without your participation or consultation, even when they affect you directly. Pay attention to absences, both physical and emotional, at times when your presence or support is most needed, and that leave a feeling of abandonment and deep hurt. These are clear indications of a growing disrespect. This perfidy is like a stealthy shadow that silently expands as you, with your eyes open to love and connection, remain at times oblivious to the most obvious warnings. Don't be confused. Your perception is not one of naivety. Far from it. Its essence is one of genuine kindness and a trust that surrenders without reserve. The problem lies in the fact that not everyone has the same purity of intentions. Some unfortunately see him not as an equal, but as an opportunity, an easy prey for their own needs and ambitions. You have the soul of someone who gives everything he has, without measures, without conditions, without erecting protective barriers. This purity of yours, this ability to love and give yourself unconditionally, is a rare and precious characteristic. However, for certain souls, this same virtue becomes a nuisance, a source of envy, or even irritation. They do not understand such generosity, and instead of admiring it, they seek to take advantage or, worse, try to erase it. It is critical that you recognize the difference between a heart that gives of itself out of love and one that takes advantage of surrender. Your inner light, Pisces, that radiance of generosity and empathy that emanates from you, sometimes becomes a focus of envy for some. Instead of celebrating or learning from its brilliance, certain people prefer to try to outshine it. There are dark souls, devoid of their own vibrant energy, who feed on the bonds of others, parasitizing relationships and absorbing the vitality of others. This individual who betrays you behaves like a lingering shadow, tied to you not by genuine affection, but by a profound inability to manifest your own clarity. Notice, when someone cannot ascend on their own, their inclination is to try to diminish the splendor of the one who does. This dynamic is a heavy burden, as you sometimes walk among those who present themselves with meekness, but whose true intentions are predatory. You, in your purity, believe that every hug is sincere, that every piece of advice is well-intentioned. However, this unshakable belief leaves him exposed. You are being consumed, sucked of your essence, and burdened with guilt that truly does not belong to you. The heaviness in your heart, the feeling of inexplicable tiredness, the discouragement that arises for no apparent reason, all these are echoes of this energetic absorption. The betrayer does not want his well-being, but rather the maintenance of a continuous source for his own shortcomings, his frustrations, and his inability to nourish himself autonomously. They use you as a distorted mirror for their own flaws, projecting their insecurities onto you. Their strength is a resource for them, and their vulnerability is a gateway. It's a dangerous game that undermines your self-confidence and distorts your perception of yourself. The time has come, Pisces, to open your eyes completely and confront the reality that is unfolding. Look around you with a new depth. Notice that which, consciously or not, you have chosen to ignore until now. Pay attention to the details of daily interactions. who in fact listens to him with mindfulness, seeking to understand his perspective, and who just impatiently waits for his own turn to expose his ideas, who celebrates from the heart their achievements and advances, and who subtly minimizes them or puts them in a negative perspective. Identify those who are present in your life when there is nothing to be gained, those who offer selfless support, and those who conveniently disappear as soon as they realize they can no longer get something. And from you, true loyalty manifests itself in constancy, in the presence devoid of hidden interests. In addition to observing others, it is vital that you start giving voice to your own body and your intuition. They are your most trusted guides. Do you feel a tightness in the stomach area, an unusual tension in the chest, or a strange and inexplicable sensation that accompanies it? Don't dismiss these signs. These are physical manifestations of your intuition, crying out for attention, trying to alert you to a truth that your mind still resists fully accepting. Don't silence her anymore. These hunches are not fantasies. These are real warnings. Remember that perfidy does not always manifest itself in overt acts of violence or confrontation. It can also come in the form of a strategic omission, an eloquent silence when support was expected, or a glaring lack of empathy that reveals a void in the relationship. These are the voids that erode trust, the absences that hurt more than any direct confrontation. It's time to recognize these patterns, to honor your own feelings, and to allow your keen perception to guide you out of the cycle of deception. Liberation begins the moment you accept the truth that your intuition has long whispered. This is the instant, Pisces, of a complete awakening. See, understand, and crucially, begin to establish a protective emotional distance. The breach of trust, as already manifested, requires its prompt action. The sooner you recognize it in its entirety, the more quickly you can erect your defenses and begin the healing process. Don't postpone that need. It is imperative that you return to your intrinsic truth, to your light that has always been yours, and to your most authentic essence. Disengaging from false energies and imposed expectations is the first step towards this reconnection. From this point on, a true metamorphosis will begin to unfold in your existence. To reinforce this transformation and seal your commitment to the truth, declaim and record in the comments, "I, Pisces, cut off with all false energy and awaken the truth that protects me." This decree is not just a set of words. It is a powerful affirmation of your sovereignty and your intent to liberate yourself. Prepare yourself, because what is to come will touch fibers of your being that you did not even imagine were so exposed. There will be moments of deep reflection and perhaps pain when confronting certain realities. Why, you may wonder, didn't you notice this betrayal before? The answer lies in the ability of the individual in question. He disguised himself masterfully, inserting himself into your universe as a perfect mirror of everything you most desired in a relationship. He presented himself as the ideal partner, the loyal friend, the understanding family member, reflecting his desires, his hopes, and his shortcomings in such a precise way that any suspicion seemed misplaced. This carefully constructed image blinded him to the underlying reality, to the true intentions that were hidden behind a carefully crafted facade. Now, it is time to dismantle this illusion. The cunning of the traitor, Pisces, lies precisely in the way he inserted himself into his life. He knew how to be affable, showed meticulous attention, and gradually became an inherent part of her daily life, her projects, and her emotional experiences. Without you realizing it, this figure has become a constant shadow, but not a shadow that offers support or protection. Instead, it is a shadow that consumes, that feeds on your vitality, your sensitivity, and your inexhaustible capacity to love. This individual listened to your confidences, your joys, and your afflictions, but not out of genuine empathy. Every word of yours, every secret shared, has been carefully stored, not to strengthen the bond, but to be used against you at an opportune moment, in an argument, in malicious advice, or in a pejorative comment disguised as a concern. You opened the doors of your world to this person by believing in the essence of others, by seeing the potential in each being, and by an innate desire to provide help and healing. However, it is a painful but necessary truth. Not everyone is prepared for the healing process. Not everyone longs for true transformation, and not everyone is worthy of the medicine you generously offer. This being's strategy was sophisticated. He filled you with sweet words and promises, planted seeds of doubt in your mind about your own qualities, made you feel inadequate for being who you are, and worse, mistook your deep empathy for a fragility. This confusion between his compassion and a supposed weakness was the key to control. He convinced him that his sensitivity made him vulnerable, when in fact it is his greatest strength. This subtle game of mental manipulation has eroded your self-confidence, causing you to doubt your own judgments and perceptions. Now, the smokescreen begins to dissipate, and the true face of this strategy is revealed. What the manipulator did not foresee, Pisces, is that when he reached a critical point, his awakening would be unstoppable. Once the flame of your consciousness is rekindled, there is no going back. Your sensitivity, so erroneously perceived as a weakness, is in reality an immense power, a true radar that connects you to the imperceptible, to the hidden energies, to the unspoken truths. This power, this intuitive capacity, is now manifesting itself vehemently, vibrating from the inside out, instigating you to open your eyes and disentangle yourself from this suffocating situation. You are being manipulated, and what you believe to be genuine affection has been used as invisible chains to hold you captive. But the person you were, that version that was silent to avoid conflicts, that annulled yourself to please others, no longer exists. You are in a process of transformation, a rebirth where your inner voice becomes stronger and clearer by the moment. You are realizing, understanding, and most importantly, remembering your true identity, your innate strength. Recognizing this truth, that the person in whom you have placed so much faith was never what it seemed, will be painful, no doubt. There will be a process of mourning for the idealized image you have built. However, it is essential that you allow yourself to let go of this illusion. This pain is a necessary passage. And know, Pisces, that after this intensity of feelings, crystalline clarity arises, the freedom to be authentically you, and the peace of no longer needing to camouflage yourself to be accepted or loved. You will stop carrying the burden of other people's expectations by taking control of your own narrative. The coming deliverance is yours, and it will strengthen you immensely. Do you feel, Pisces, that tightness in your throat, that mixed feeling of sadness and distrust that seems to reside within you? Don't worry, you're not losing your mind or overreacting. On the contrary, it is beginning to fully awaken. Truth, before being verbalized or understood rationally, manifests itself first in your body, through sensations and presentiments. You've been feeling this for quite a while, even if your mind has resisted giving a clear name to these discomforts. To name the situation, to acknowledge it openly, would imply admitting that the figure you cherished so much does not correspond to the image you have constructed, and that, we know, hurts. It hurts because you love with totality, with an unshakable belief, a faith that, unfortunately this time, blinded you. And this blindness was, unfortunately, taken advantage of. His pure heart, his loyalty, and his immense capacity for connection were used in a perverse way, undermining his confidence and his perception of reality. The crucial question now is, who is responsible for this perfidy? To find the answer, you don't have to look to a distant past or to people far away from your circle. The answer is very close, in its immediate proximity. It is someone who moves in your innermost orbit, someone who has easy access to your deepest thoughts and feelings. The true face of the artificer of this disloyalty is not hidden in remote places, but right next to you, waiting for the right moment to reveal yourself completely. His body has already given him the first signs. Now it's your mind that needs to connect the dots. Pisces, the figure behind this disloyalty, is someone who knows him in his essence. He memorized his particularities, his oldest scars, the fears that haunt him, and the dreams that drive his existence. This perfidy does not spring from an avowed adversary, but from someone who once held the keys to the secret chamber of his soul, having free access to his most authentic feelings. Truth is often more bitter when it comes from where we least expect it. This individual demonstrates an excessive concern with your choices, investigating every step you take, questioning every move, but rarely sharing anything meaningful about themselves. He feels free to give his opinion on his deliberations, his emotions, and his goals, always with a wit that borders on intrusion and control. The phrase, "I tell you this because I care about you," is a frequent mantra in her mouth, a justification for her constant and often harmful interference. However, with each contact with this person, the feeling that remains is one of worsening, decreased self-esteem, greater insecurity, and a growing mental confusion that makes him doubt his own sanity. This Pisces is not what is called genuine affection. It is a tactic of emotional manipulation, a subtle control disguised as care. The true intention is not your good, but the maintenance of a dynamic where you feel dependent or inferior. Deep down, you already realize this reality. Even without tangible evidence, your keen perception and intuition whisper to you about this falsehood that dresses up in the garb of affection. Her sensitivity allows her to feel the dissonant energy, the hidden intention behind the kind words and gestures that seem protective. Don't blame yourself for not having identified this situation before. There is no need to blame yourself for having given your trust in full. His heart is generous, and his purity is an admirable trait that the world needs. The problem does not lie in her ability to believe, but in the nature of those who took advantage of her, exploiting her goodness. The past serves as a stern but essential teacher for your future lessons, not as a reason for perpetual regret. Now is the time to recognize, accept, and prepare to act strategically. The truth already dwells within you, and it is time to allow it to illuminate every step of your path, guiding you to a well-deserved liberation. Pisces, listen carefully. This time, being silent in the face of what you perceive will break you inside. Your luminous soul deserves wholeness and peace above all else. What is announced is not an ordinary disappointment, but the beginning of a profound transformation in your being. This is a decisive turning point for your personal evolution. This metamorphosis is the crucial moment where you stop justifying the attitudes of others and finally start protecting yourself, raising healthy shields against dynamics that harm you. It is the moment to stop asking for forgiveness, for expressing your most genuine feelings, or for simply being who you are. Instead, it's time to set clear and firm boundaries based on the purest self-love. It is not about fury or revenge. That is not its nature. It means adopting unwavering clarity, observing the facts with unarmed eyes, and allowing reality to reveal itself without your forced intervention. Truth will find its way to the surface, like water that always finds its way out. It will appear in a sentence said without thinking, in an unexpected attitude that denounces falsehood, or in a forgetfulness that, in fact, is not accidental, but reveals negligence. The universe will conspire so that everything you need to know comes to light, but it is essential that you are awake, present and receptive to pick up on these subtle signals. Your intuition, now strengthened and validated, will be your most reliable beacon. What is coming is truly the rebirth of a new you, more aware and resilient. It can hurt, yes, when confronting illusions and detaching yourself from certain idealized figures or expectations. But, paradoxically, this pain will be his greatest liberator. It will free you from invisible burdens, from toxic bonds, and from an energy that quietly drained you. You will emerge from this experience with a new skin, with a deeper understanding of yourself and the world, free to be authentic. This process, while challenging, is an invitation to inhabit your full authenticity, to honor who you are, and to live in alignment with your highest essence. The light inside is ready to shine even brighter. Pisces, you will recover what they tried to subtract from your existence. Your authentic voice, the strength of your keen intuition, and the balance of your inner center of gravity. You will remember with renewed clarity what you truly deserve in your life, and firmly what you will never allow again in your personal and emotional space. When this transformation is fully consolidated, you will not be the same as before. It will be a more robust, more lucid version with a keen perception and, above all, more selective in its relationships and choices. You will then understand that your love is a priceless treasure, a rare and precious gift that not everyone is prepared for or worthy of receiving in its entirety. It is time to connect and engage with people who resonate to your same vibrational frequency. Souls who do not seek advantage of your generosity and who truly love you for who you are, without conditions, masks, or ulterior motives. Only then, Pisces, will everything make deep sense, like pieces of a puzzle that finally fall into place. You will look back on this time of trial and pain, and with sincere gratitude you will say, "Thank you for showing me so clearly what I no longer want on my journey." The perfidy that struck him, although painful, was not a punishment. It unfolds now as a portal, an essential gateway to a higher, authentic, empowered version of you. And know with certainty that you are already crossing this threshold. Your journey of rebirth has begun, and the destination is the wholeness and freedom of being who you were truly born to be. Now we invite you, share in the comments, with clarity and courage, what you will never allow again in your life. Let your voice be a powerful echo of your new strength and your commitment to your truth. Pisces, as he crosses the portal of transformation, his inner strength emerges with unprecedented clarity. Its essence, stripped of the layers of illusion and the expectations of others, now shines with its own unshakable light. You no longer bow to the need for external validation, for the certainty of your worth resides firmly in your own heart. Your intuition, once muffled or questioned, now functions as an accurate and reliable guide, whispering truths and warning of disharmonies long before they solidify. Clarity in your perceptions allows you to set boundaries with an ease that you were previously unaware of. These barriers are not walls of defense, but rather contours of respect, erected from the deep affection he nurtures for himself. Living with you becomes lighter, more genuine, as you attract people who resonate with your authentic vibe, those who celebrate your individuality and appreciate the depth of your soul without trying to alter it. There is no more room for disguise or superficiality. What it seeks and offers is the naked truth in its purest and most beautiful form. The peace that comes from living in alignment with your true being is a balm. Every step you take, every decision you make, reflects your integrity and your newfound self-love. The masks fall, not only yours, but also those of those who approach, revealing the true intentions behind each interaction. Its brilliance is no longer a threat to some, but an invitation to transparency and true connection for those who deserve it. The beauty of your authentic self, freed from past bonds, radiates, attracting a new kind of energy and relationships to your journey. It is the dawn of an era where your authenticity is your greatest achievement and your most powerful tool. The path traveled, Pisces, although marked by pain, brought a deep understanding. Past experiences were not mere punishments, but valuable lessons that sculpted his current wisdom. Now you understand that excessive personal sacrifice, limitless giving to those you do not value, is not a sign of love, but of a pattern that needed to be broken. The cycle of putting oneself in the background, of prioritizing the well-being of others to the detriment of one's own has come to an end definitively. The keen perception he now possesses allows him to identify the warning signs with impressive anticipation. Red flags, once ignored or justified by their complacent nature, now stand out irrefutably. You no longer reproach yourself for having trusted or for having been, at times, blind to the signs. Instead, it welcomes its past with compassion and gratitude for the clarity it has brought. This is the true essence of forgiveness, an act of liberation that you give yourself, opening the way to the future. The doors to those who seek only to drain your energy or manipulate your goodwill are now permanently closed. You understand that the resilience and wisdom you have gained are insurmountable shields. The new Pisces, who emerged from this ordeal, will not fall into the same traps, will not allow himself to be entangled in the webs of deception that once imprisoned him. There is a renewed firmness in their stance, a quiet confidence that repels any attempt at abuse or disloyalty. The repetition of negative patterns is no longer a possibility, as your new consciousness prevents the past from projecting into the present. You are free, and that freedom is the guarantee of a future where your worth is always recognized and honored. With the old cycles duly closed, Pisces, your energy now turns to the active construction of a new tomorrow, paved with self-affection and mutual respect. Your current journey is focused on caring for yourself, personal growth, and nurturing your soul. You prioritize activities that uplift your spirit, that expand your mind, and that strengthen your body, creating a sanctuary of peace and love around you. This is the foundation on which all future relationships will be built. The manifestation of new connections now takes place with a conscious purpose, seeking people who share their values, who celebrate their essence, and who approach with the intention of building, not consuming. Your choices in all areas of life are based on awareness and acquired wisdom, ensuring that each decision contributes to your well-being and genuine happiness. Confidence in your own discernment is your compass, guiding you to enriching interactions and an environment that supports and drives you. The journey continues, of course, but now with a solid foundation, a firm ground under your feet. There is no more uncertainty about who you are or what you deserve. Each new day is an invitation to embrace new experiences, to unveil promising horizons, and to allow joy to fill your heart. Trust fully in the path that opens up before you, for it will lead you to fulfillment and fulfillment. Your inherent value is the star that guides you, and your future is a vast and luminous horizon. May this new chapter of your life be filled with truth, joy, and a love that welcomes you and exalts you in its entirety.